What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and we are here today with a review for Sistas Season 4, Episode 13. The episode was titled Shaking in the Rain. Alright, you guys, so before we go ahead and get into this episode review, do me a favor. Stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know you can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribe to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and sharing the video. And you guys, with that out of the way, without further ado, let's discuss Sistas on BET. Shall we? Alright, you guys, so this episode, it opens up and we see Andy. She's in her apartment and her phone rings and she answers it. And who is it? It's Gary. And I'm like, you dumb bird, you. So he asks her, how did her night go? She says, oh, it was good. So then he asks about her company. She says, well, why do I have a feeling that you know I didn't have company last night? That's because he's probably bugged your apartment and he's watching you, Andy. God, you're a dumbass. So then he says, he knows that, this Robin situation, she's using that to make him jealous. You're thinking too much of yourself, Gary? Because I don't necessarily know how is she doing that to make you jealous? Because she lied to you. Well, technically she didn't lie to him. She told the truth when she went out to dinner with him. She told him she was with the girls, which she was, but then also Robin was there. So I don't necessarily know how she's doing this to make you jealous. Now, once you found out about Robin and she talks about Robin, yes. But her and Robin is not to make you jealous, Gary. I think you just think a little bit too highly of yourself, my good boy. Well, you ain't my good boy, but yes. So he says, well, how about dinner tonight? She says no, she has plans with Robin. Then he says, okay, well, how about lunch? She says no, I'm meeting with the girls. He's like, damn, Andy, can you squeeze me in somewhere? Yes, I can pencil you in to go the hell away from me, or pencil you in to go get a restraining order or something, but pencil you in for a date? No, sir. So after she hangs up with him, she still is thinking something is off with this situation. So she calls up El Fuego to come and sweep her apartment. Why are you calling El Fuego to come sweep the apartment, girl? Once again, have all of your shit from that apartment or wherever. Actually, Gary put her stuff in storage. Why don't you have Gary move your stuff from storage back to your apartment and stay there? Doesn't that work? Andy just likes playing games. Oh, okay. Maybe I was okay, maybe he is kind of right. Semi. Not that much. So then, you guys, let's move over to Karen and Aaron. So Karen and Aaron are in a doctor, and he's asking her, is she nervous? She's like, why would I be nervous, Aaron? He says, I don't know, maybe about the time. Aaron, I know when I got pregnant, and I know who the father is, and it is Zach. Okay, if you want to keep running with that narrative, we'll let you have it. So she's like, it's so cold in here. Like, why do they keep it so cold in here? To keep the germs at bay, you idiot. So Aaron goes and gets this hospital gown and puts it over her. I was like, what is a hospital gown supposed to do? Those are thin. Hospital gowns are thin. So I didn't understand the significance of the hospital gown. It's not like it's a blanket. It's not like it's a quilt. It's a hospital gown. And you throw that over her. Okay. So then he says, you know what? I'm really sorry. He says, and I don't want to add stress to you. She's like, oh my God, Aaron, you are so sweet to me. Why are you so sweet to me? He says, it's because of the way I was raised. But, I kind of think that, it gets on your nerves. Well, Aaron, I don't know if it gets on her nerves so much as the fact that she is just, not that into you. Maybe it's that. So she says, you never talk about your parents, Aaron. He says, oh, okay, well, my family's a typical Midwest family. My mom and dad, they do this, and they're still here with us. And she says, because she said, he says, well, you never talk about your parents either. She says, well, you met my mom. And then he says, well, what about your dad? How, after this baby is born, we'll have to get a drink and we'll talk about that. Okay, Karen. I guess. I guess. So, yeah. So then she tells him, thank you so much for coming with me, Aaron. So, you guys, we're going to pause here and we're going to move forward. So, we move over to Andy's office. So, Hayden comes up to Andy and he tells her about Fatima, the fact that he got Fatima arrested. And, well, before he actually said, he was talking about Fatima, she says, Hayden, if I were you, I would drop that subject. So, because she says, Fatima is not someone that you really want to deal with. He says, oh, I can handle her. And then she asks him, speaking of that, how long have you known Gary? He says, oh, yeah, I've known Gary for about 2 years. She said, but I just introduced you guys a few weeks ago. So she says, with Gary, excuse me, guys. She says, with Gary, do you guys ever discuss me? Do you talk about Robin when he's here or when he's not here? And Hayden was like, why are you asking me these questions? So then he tells her, you're going to need a new assistant. She was like, why the hell would I need a new assistant? And he says, because Fatima is in jail, because I got her on car, destroying my house, and, messing up my car. You should thank her for destroying that ugly ass car that you had. Just saying. You should pay her. So then Hayden, he's so cocky, talking about, I'm going to go talk to the partners and I'm going to tell the partners that she's a detriment to this company and that we need to have her fired. Okay, Hayden. I'm thinking, you guys, because didn't Fatima, don't they have the information on him that he was listening to her phone call, that he was bugging her, that he bugged her phone and was listening to it? Like, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they have some information on Hayden. You guys can let me know in the comment section, but I think they have something on Hayden. I just can't remember. And he says, don't even try to bail her out because the judge. I talked to the judge about that. So then we see Jake. So Jake and Zach are still at that house, and Jake tells Zach, "You're super smart. Like, you got this." And you guys, I'm still just not feeling Jake from State Farm. Like, I just don't feel. I'm just not feeling him. I don't understand. I don't. It's something about that dude that just kind of just doesn't sit right with me. So once he leaves, person comes in. He's like, "What was that about?" So just Zach was like, were you eavesdropping? He's like, no, I was not eavesdropping, but what was that about? So Zach says, oh, it was nothing, basically just me getting my army together if I need to go to war. And the person was like, what the hell does that mean? So that's that. So you guys, I'm going to pause here and move forward. All right, you guys. So the doctor, she finally comes in to see Karen. So she's like, what can I do for you today? And I was like, huh? What can you do for her today? Bitch, we can give her a pregnancy test. We can do a pregnancy kit test on her to see if she's pregnant. And I was thinking in this moment when she asked that question, I was like, isn't this supposed to be Aaron's friend? And didn't Aaron set up this doctor's appointment? So Aaron didn't tell her why they're coming in today? Because when you set up a doctor's appointment, unless you're in the emergency room, when you set up an appointment with a doctor, if you're going for a routine physical, they already know what you're coming for. Now I know, like, even when you go to the emergency room, when the doctor finally comes in and sees you, they'll ask you what's going on today, like, what's wrong, what are your symptoms and whatnot. But she's pregnant, and this woman's gonna ask, "What's going on today? Did your friend not tell you she's pregnant?" And she could have came in and said, "Hey, hi, I'm Dr. So and So. I'm Aaron's friend. So Aaron, he made this appointment for you. So just to confirm, we're going to be doing, and just tell her, I've been informed that, you've missed your period and you want to know if you're pregnant. So I'm going to give you the rundown of what we're going to do. We're going to do an ultrasound. We're going to do a this. We're going to do a that. And mind you, the woman didn't come in with anything. She didn't come in with the ultrasound. Only thing she had on her was her stethoscope. She didn't have, and here's another thing. She didn't even have a chart. Because when you go to the doctor, even if you go to the emergency room, they make a chart of what Tyler. They make a chart because they get your weight, they get your height, they get your blood pressure, they do all of that. So she just went to the doctor and they didn't do anything. They don't have any kind of information on this woman. Okay, this is Tyler Perry's world and I'm just living in it. So she tells Karen, well, I'm gonna get the, because Karen tells her she's pregnant. She took a home pregnancy test. We're gonna talk about that too. So the doctor says, okay, I'll go get an ultrasound. I was like, huh? Now, I ain't the smartest person in the world. But I thought when you go in, so, because this one was talking about doing, okay, she said an ultrasound. I know they did. I know that when you first go in, they do the ultrasound on you, but don't they also do a panel? They take a panel from you to see if you are in fact pregnant. Because I don't, now I could have missed it, you guys, but I didn't hear that woman say anything about taking. Well, yes, she did, because she said blood work after they were talking about when Erin mentioned to see how far along she is and to see when she conceived. That was when the woman mentioned a blood test. Okay. Karen got pissed off when Erin wanted to know when she conceived. Karen's thing is she already know when she conceived and she knows who the father is. Do you really? Okay. So let's keep going, you guys. So Danny, we see Danny at work, and you guys have to remind me, what is that cop's name? I forget what his name is. But he returned some girls to their parents, and she saw him crying, and she was like, oh, you crying, huh? So Danny says, you know what? He says, no, I'm not crying. But he did say he's been trying to get those girls to their families for the last 3 years. Why the fuck are y'all still in the airport? That's what threw me too. You've been trying to get those girls to their parents for 3 years. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna go too deep on Tyler with this one. I'm not gonna go too well. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Because wouldn't his cover would be, if he is quote unquote undercover, wouldn't his cover would be blown with him returning these girls. But see, here's the other thing. Well, I guess this thing is plausible. This can be plausible. They could be, those girls could be trafficked from different states, and he could be intercepting them. But how would he have known about them for 3 years? Let's move on. So Danny apologizes to whatever his name is. I forget his name, and I didn't even care to go back and try to find out what his name is. You guys can let me know in the comment section. I forgot the man's name. So, where we at? So yeah, she apologizes to him and she asks him out on a date. He agrees. She says he's paying. It is what it is, you guys. Let's pause here and move forward. You guys, Zach's house. How in the hell did this house get fully furnished in the time span that it is furnished? There is a light fixture that is hanging. There is furniture everywhere. There is a stove, a refrigerator. When we first saw this house, this is in the span of a few days or maybe even 2 weeks. Who the hell builds a house in that? Unless you got Sabrina, the teenage witch, just moving her finger around. How the fuck did this house get built in such little time? Tyler, what is the timeline? Actually, I've been saying that I'm gonna stop asking what the timeline is for Tyler Perry shows. I'm gonna stop asking what the timeline is because at this point, he stretches reality so much. So Zach is ready for Fatima to come and see it, and he says that he tells Preston that things are good between them. So Zach tells Preston that things will work out between you and Danny. Just give it time. He says that Danny is scared. Do I believe that Danny is scared? I guess you could say Danny is a little afraid, but Danny also has a communication block as well. She wants to put this off on Preston, but you also have a big communication block. So Preston leaves. Zach calls Fatima up, but it went to voicemail, and he tells her, hey, I'm calling you, pick up. Like, I want to show you the surprise, and I want to take you out to dinner. So then we see Andy. So Andy went down to the police station, and Fatima comes into the interrogation room. So Fatima's like, I'm sorry, Andy. And Andy tells her, he's trying to get you fired. And she was like, really? She said, I know that little bitch ass nigga was going to try that shit. So Andy tells her, and also with the judge, now, I don't know if him or the judge had a relationship with each other, but they're really good, and he's talked to the judge already. And Andy says, and he's trying to talk to the partners about, I already said that, didn't I? They talked to the partners about trying to get her fired. But Andy has a trick up her sleeve. Robin. We remember, Robin owns the company. And you guys remember, Robin doesn't like Hayden at all. So Andy asks her about Zach. Have you called Zach? She says no. She says, do you want me to call Zach? She says, I don't. She says, I don't have a record. She's like, that's surprising. She says, but Zach does, and Zach will hurt that boy. So she says no. So Andy says, well, I'm going to work on trying to get you bail. And she says, but if I can't get you bail, she says, I'll call Zach and tell him. Oh, you guys, let's pause here and wrap up the episode. Child, Sabrina and Maurice. So Sabrina and Maurice are at work, and Sabrina is in a good mood in her yellow ass this dress that looks like it is a raincoat. Maurice called it a church dress. I wouldn't even disrespect the church dress like that. So Maurice says, what kind of dick did you get last night? She says, Maurice, you're being vulgar. You're at work. He says, it ain't no dick up in here. Maurice cracks me up. So he tells her, okay, so Calvin is coming down. And he says, you need to talk to Calvin. She says, I will. I was like, for what? Why do we need to have a conversation with Calvin? Calvin and Sabrina are not married. Why does Sabrina need to have a conversation with Calvin? Oh my God. And then Maurice, he's asking her about her date with her night with Bayo. I think it's Bayo. So he asked her, did she give him some? She says, no, Maurice, I'm a lady. He says, bitch, you dumb. And I was like, exactly. That man, because he says he got $38 million. Bitch, you dumb. So Maurice told her, because you're glowing in that church gown. Oh, Maurice. He's a fool. So then this guy comes in with a shitload of flowers. He had one in his hand. Then he comes in with a rolling cart. And he says there's more out there. And he asks her, where does she want them? So she goes and calls Bayo up. And, Bayo asked her out on a date. She said yes. But this time she would like to get home early and to her bed alone. Well, girl, didn't you go home alone the last time? But okay. Whatever, Sabrina. Whatever. So then she tells Bayo, how about, you give those flowers to, the hospital. So Bayo says, cool. He says, give the guy the phone. He gives the guy a tip. Maurice, by the way, got a vase of flowers, and he's picking some other ones out. And she's like, Maurice, stop. And the guy was like, where do you want me to put these? She said, you can take them. And Maurice says, yes, take them to my flat down there in Midtown. She's like, Maurice, no. She's like, well, can I keep this? She said yes. And then he had this baby. He said, can I get some baby's breath? So he put one of the flowers behind his head. This fool said, I feel like Billie Holiday. And then he started, oh my God, trying to mimic Billie Holiday. Oh, that fool Maurice is a mess. Maurice is a mess, you guys. So then we later see Sabrina, and she's sniffing one of the roses. I'm like, Sabrina, and they pan the camera over, and who's there? Calvin is there. I'm like, damn, so you didn't even notice Calvin, which I don't care too much. So Calvin asks her, where are the flowers from? And she tells him, and he says, oh, so you like him. She says, Calvin, I just met him. That doesn't mean that you don't like him, but okay. So Calvin is in his fifis at this point. So she tells him they can talk. He says, for what? I was like, finally, someone made some sense. For what? What the? Y'all need to talk about. So he leaves. So Maurice says, let that bitch go. She butthurt and broke. Maurice is a trip. So then Q comes in. He's like, hey, Maurice, I got these flowers for you. Maurice was like, bye, Q. Actually, let me see that card. Q was like, no. So Maurice goes for it. He slaps. He says, don't touch me. And Q took one of the flowers off that man's cart and trying to present it to Maurice because it's one of those flowers for Sabrina. So Maurice and Calvin, not Maurice and Calvin, but Maurice tells him to go. Oh God, this is a never-ending story. So he leaves. He says, I'll be on your porch tonight. And Sabrina's like, I don't like that, Maurice. He's like, I know. He said, but that bitch Calvin let him in. Soft-hearted bitch. Oh God, you guys, hilarious. Hilarious, hilarious, hilarious. Y'all, and then the final scene of the episode. So, Tyler, me and you, this is a me and you conversation. So, everybody else, I'm gonna need y'all to step to the side, okay? Let me have this conversation with Mr. Tyler Perry. Mr. Perry, and this is a joke, by the way. I just want you to know this is literally me joking. But Mr. Perry, if I ever see you in person, I'm gonna kick your ass because I be damn. You wait till the last 3 minutes of this goddamn episode to give me this scene with motherfucking Karen and her wayward ass wig. Why are you dragging this shit out? So we find out that Karen is pregnant, but the doctor is surprised that the pregnancy test picked it up because Karen ain't even 4 weeks pregnant. Bitch, we told you that your baby daddy is not no damn Zach. Your baby daddy is Aaron. Because you've been having sex with Aaron. You've had sex with Aaron more than you've had sex with Zach. You and Zach just had sex in that goddamn broom closet. Karen, go to hell with that bullshit. That is the end of the episode, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on your post notifications. Share the video. And until the next time, you guys, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. Socially distance. Be blessed. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.